Girl, you better shut up. You already started.
Shiny lips. We can put it on Vaseline, but don't let it be so shiny. I'm telling you, this is what we grew.
So they're telling you something that's gonna benefit the man too. What were some of those things that they were saying? Like cook for your husband?
Obey. Yeah, being submissive.
Obey. Obey. Like put a little obey on your season. What do you say?
Do what he say.
Good evening. This is the final installment. I cannot believe that we're here, but I would like to officially welcome you to Brilliant Women's Collective's presentation on You Forgot to Teach Me How to Be a Girl, a conversation on femininity and the church. And we're so delighted. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I'm so excited about our speaker who is going to bring this thing on in. So no pressure, Taneka, none whatsoever. But we thank you guys for watching here on the live, or if you're catching the rebroadcast, we just thank you for being a part of this. You know what? This idea just downloaded to me, and this was the first thing that downloaded to me that I didn't push back on. I just said yes, and I just started conceptualizing how to put this thing together, and it came rather easy. And so I think I'm gonna say yes more often in the future. I might. So we have a few house rules, and we'll get right into it. Number one, we just want to be respectful of each other's journey, spiritual journey. It's a personal thing, and our ahas and our wow moments. I always say lead with the EFGs in Brilliant Women. The EFGs are elegance, femininity, and grace. If you respond to anything laced in elegance, femininity, and grace, it will always be well received and be beautiful. And that's what we want. We want more beautiful things. Also, we believe here that as we lift up our worship, we do it as a sweet fragrance, a sweet aroma. And today I'm wearing none other than just some essential oil, bergamot. I just wanted to go back to ancient smells and just pull out, I would have pulled out frankincense if I had any, but I had some bergamot. So we're just allowing bergamot citrus notes to fill the room. And God, we hope that whatever we say just brings a sweet, pleasurable aroma to your nostrils in Jesus' name. And then lastly, the hashtag is simply be a girl or how to be a girl. Tear the chats, the comments up. Just let's get this conversation started. So now without further ado, let's bring in my homegirl from around the way. I'm going to try to do this. I don't know why Taneka didn't ask to join so I could just press the button, but she has me, the elder of the two, to figure this out. I think I just figured it out. Okay, she got it. So I'm going to accept, and that means she's going to come on in.
I'm figuring it out myself.
Hey, girl. Well, hello. How are you on this Sunday evening? I'm doing absolutely well. Let me turn my volume up so I can hear you, Taneka. You turn yours up, too, because we want them to hear you. Beyond your red lipstick, we want them to hear you, okay?
Yes.
I know you're a red lipstick girl, but I am so excited to speak with you, and I want to just go on and put it out there just so people can know. Taneka is a relative of mine. She's my cousin, one of them, 1, 2, or 3, 4, whichever one, but she's a cousin, and so her story is going to be somewhat familiar. I use the word somewhat because I didn't grow up down grandma's, as I call it, but I visited in the summer during farm work time, so I got a glimpse of what you guys were going through. So I reckon, Taneka, that there'll be some things that I'm like clutching my pearls that you'll say and like, girl, I never heard that. So we're going to get right into it. Baby doll, feel free to, this is a safe space.
Oh.
No one's going to beat you up.
Oh.
I got you, okay? So be free to say it how God will want you to say it. And we're going to get started. So the first thing I like to ask all my guests, I've asked them this so far,
Yep.
where did you grow up? And what did you want to be when you grew up? What did you think you wanted to be?
Well, I'm from Billville, North Carolina. I always said I want to be a dental hygienist.
Okay, why?
Because
what brought about that?
It might sound crazy, but I just always looked at people's teeth. And that's why I'm so big on it now, like with my smile. Like I told somebody, this felt crazy, I would go in debt to have good teeth.
Girl, don't you know it? I've got to get the Invisalign soon because I don't want the veneers because I think I took great care of my teeth, but I do have wisdom teeth that I refuse to come out. So they have shifted some things recently. Yeah. So I'm like, I got to get the Invisalign because, but a dentist, okay, I would have never thought that about you, but I'm learning. So tell me about when you were a little girl growing up, because we're going to go back to go forward. That's always the answer. When you were a little girl growing up, who were like some childhood actresses that you would see maybe on television?
Okay, so we would have to sneak to watch. Like a lot of people.
Girl, you better shut up. You already started.
We would have to sneak to watch the Huxtables, Bill Cosby shows. We would have to sneak to watch that. Like we couldn't really watch. It was when my dad go to church. If we had the privilege to stay home, we will be in the den watching the Cosby Show, and then when we see them lights turn in, we will all duck and run in the room as if we wasn't watching the Cosby Show.
Taneka Love Brody. Let me tell you something. Girl, okay, so we could watch the Cosby Show down grandma's, but it was your Thursday night services. So we hated having to go to church on Thursday night because we couldn't watch it down grandma's. But I can see if you said Martin. Now, we couldn't get away with Martin or The Simpsons, but what was wrong with the Cosby Show, you suppose?
Like the comedy, the laughing and stuff like that, and the different things. So it was just more so that. So we would just sneak, but that was a privilege. That's why we would have to be in church. But we would have, when we said, well, we got a lot test or we have homework coming, we got to do it. Then we would stay home. But when we saw them lights turn in, we would go.
So I imagine Claire Huxtable was just something you looked at as like,
but
wow.
Tia and Tamara, I would watch that. Like Tia and Tamara, that's my, because I could identify with the twin stuff. And now,
absolutely.
Like, because they did everything together. Me and my twin.
Because she's a twin, also.
We would watch those shows, and it was just like we can identify. And now that they're grown, they have their family of their own, whatever, but they still remain close. So those are my identity, like I can identify with them.
But you know what? You and Sharika always reminded me of Tia and Tamara. Yeah, so could you watch that
we
show?
would just watch it on when we could. It wasn't a lot, like, it was just the more comedy shows that we couldn't watch anything with laughing.
So if there was people laughing in the background, joking, turn it.
I'm trying to tell you, I got some stories.
Oh my pearls, where am I?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Taneka, I'm so sorry, dear. Okay, all right. Well, that's a new one. I didn't know you was gonna come out the gate with it. Okay. So, what did you love about Claire Huxtable when you saw this beautiful woman that was strong? Very strong, independent, seemingly like she didn't need Cliff. What did you think about her and the women that you saw growing up?
Because she still was a wife, a mother, but yet she still had her own identity. She had a balance, but yet he didn't keep her back from being the woman and what she wanted to do, her career. So that I saw, but compared to the women down there, it's like they didn't have a lot of voice, and she had voice. So that was like a major difference there, a big difference.
Right. So did you feel like she was made up, or did you realize like there are women? Okay, so when you're thrust in that world, down grandma's world, at some point you're thinking, I don't say that you're always thinking this, but at one point you're thinking this is how it is. Right. This is how women are. This is how men are. Right. This is how we are as kids. But then you have a character that is so the antithesis of that, just the opposite of what you're seeing. I was going to say lead service, but you're probably not even really maybe leading on a women's night, Thursday night or so. You see something so strong. Did it seem fake? Like, oh, this is Hollywood. People aren't like that in the real world.
I think for me, I knew it was something different. But I knew because we was down there and where we were, we couldn't do that. Like, that was just something they taught. So it made me look like, okay, it has to be something more, but I know where I am, so I have to abide by these rules. Still, you know, we get out and see the world or see the real world. So it didn't really seem like, okay, that's made up, because I know families are like that. You know, people deal with, like, even my mom's side, just seeing different things. Like, I had, you know, we couldn't really go to my mom's side, but still I knew there was more to this than
what you were being introduced to. Okay. Were there women in your sector, in that setting, that you actually saw, they're a little different from the other women that... No. You're already shaking your head no.
Yes, because that's all we that's all we knew. Tuesday, Thursday night, come to church. That's really all we knew. So having outside people, the only outsiders we saw was really when we go to school. So yeah, we all went to school, so that's all we knew. So for us to, and that's all we saw, then we were fine. You know, at that moment, closed-minded, that we're fine because we can identify with one another. So that's all we do.
Right. Well, that was the luxury, because whereas with me, I was in Greensboro, and I was the only one that wore dresses every day to school. Yeah. So y'all had each other to kind of lean in, had your own little hall gang, whatever you want to call it. But with me, it was just like, I'm continuously having to answer the question, like, why do you wear skirts every day and it's 20 degrees outside? Or, you know, I hated winter. I mean, it was just it seemed like child abuse every time I think about it. So you mentioned the rules. I want to talk about those rules. If you don't mind sharing with the audience some of the rules that were prevalent at church, like these are the rules that you had to abide by. No earrings.
No. Really, we couldn't even wear shiny lips. We could put on Vaseline, but don't let it be so shiny. I'm telling you, this is what we grew up. No Vaseline. Like, one day we came out of the room, I put on Vaseline, yo, shiny, go take some of that off. Yes, so for us, you know, I'm just telling you the rules kind of that was in my father's house. Like, for us, we could,
So the rules were different when you were at home than they were at the actual church?
Yes.
So some church people could do that.
So for my dad, like, at 16, we couldn't wear our hair out until 16. Hair out like this.
That means what?
It had,
so it had
or
to be
what we would
bows.
So what we would know, we could be like in a ponytail, but just not out. So we would wear.
Girl, I'm gonna go beat your daddy.
So we would take ponytail scrunchies and get all the way. I'm gonna show you. We would all the way down here to like. These stories are just so funny now, you know, because yes, just we couldn't wear stockings. Oh my God! Actually, stockings until we turned 16. Sheer stockings,
like the sheer stockings.
We would
wear tights, sister. Okay.
Going to school.
Oh, socks. Okay.
So don't go bare-legged. No arms out. Like, these are the rules. That's in church too. You know, not just at home, but that was like, women don't come into church with your arms out. No, like don't sleeveless. And pretty much they want you. They don't want you to. You know how you got yours now? Pretty much kind of longer. Of course, no makeup. Dress is not above your knee. Like, just things that we had to go by. Yeah.
Wow. And that is what was being perpetuated generation after generation and after generation. So your dad's sisters would do it. And I'm saying your dad's sisters as opposed to your dad because these women, these rules largely affect women way more than they affect the men. And so you're seeing somebody as beautiful as Claire Huxtable and her girls, Denise, Vanessa, and all of them, and they're not you. They're able to do. Did you ever have judgment on people that didn't do it like you?
Yes.
Did you ever find yourself saying they're worldly? Or look at you.
Yes, like we were. That's why I said when I got out, I don't want to move too far, but out of that taught us just to be judgmental. Yeah. Because we were based on the outside, the clothes, what's had on, and they could be just as sweet as ever and say they have God, but because what if they had on, we would say, well, you can't be saved. But then they're treating everybody with love. Then the people that wear the long dresses and head covers was the devil. So it caused us to be judgmental. So that's why I said fast forward when I got out, all of that changed. My eyes really opened and saw light.
We're gonna get to it. We're gonna definitely get to that for sure. We don't want to jump too fast. So tell me about what's Tuesday night, because you said Tuesday night and Thursday night and Sundays you were at church.
That was just more like a Sunday, like a praise worship service, testimony, but women's night.
Is that preaching? Thursday is women's night. Let's get to the women's night. So Taneka has this interesting view growing up of church, how do we say, positioning or church etiquette, because in grandma's church, the men kind of cut to the left and the women cut to the right. Let me know if I'm wrong, or it may have just been that summer. But the women cut to the right. And when they did that, it offered this idea of separate lifestyle or separatism, where almost subservient, where women, now you're not knowing this while you're in it. This is when you're out of it and you're just growing up in just knowledge. It offers this subservient behavior to the men, because I said to someone some years ago, the first time I ever saw my grandparents sit together, like beside one another, was at my aunt's funeral. Yeah, it was always you cut to the left, you cut to the right. And you know me, I want to go to the left too, just because, it's too many girls. Let me go to the left. But I want to know, like, other things that you saw, the culture, I guess, of the church that you saw that you just thought that's how it was, and find yourself even today.
You know what?
To the right.
Even today, now I don't. I think because my mind is freed of that. So, like, when I go down to the Christmas programs, my eyes don't even look to the right. I go straight to the left. Like, I sit on the opposite side. My husband and my family, like, I can't see myself separated like that. Like, I can't. So now that, now it used to be, but now that's no longer in me. Like, I'm because I look at the same, like, hey, we're family. It don't matter, like, where you see it in a seat.
I remember going to this white church, maybe like when I first quit church. So I ended up back at a white church. This white church showed me something so remarkable that I hadn't seen in church anywhere, especially at a black church, whether it's grandma's or even mine growing up. And that was the love of family at church. The couples sat together, and not only did they sit together, they were snuggled up. And I'm like, what better way to be snuggled up with your husband, someone you're in love with, while hearing a love story from God? But it just seems like that was so far from even my subconscious, because again, I'm not raised there. I'm raised in it, but not really in it. You know, my church here could do whatever they wanted to do. Girl, when we first joined the church, they they had a skate night, girl, and the electric slide came out, and they were just doing like, and we were like, oh my gosh, these people aren't saved, you know. But we stayed with it. Now we all do the electric slide with them. But yeah. So when I got to the white church, I began to see just this love affair with not only Christ, but with one another, with the family. And it was just so opposite of what I especially saw growing up down Grandma. So you have these women's services on Thursday night. Tell me about that. Like, so how's the setup? Is there a preacher?
Well,
the women preach
they call it
on that night?
Missionary night. They did let the women bring the lesson.
Okay, a lesson.
The floor.
From the pulpit or the floor?
No,
okay.
Don't step your feet there. No, no, you better don't step behind there. But all white. There was they did the lesson, but of course, most of the time their back was turned, like kind of slanted, because we're only talking to the women. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
to the right.
Right, so they can know. Okay, we're talking to the women, so it won't make it seem like they're teaching the men.
You're teaching the men. Oh my gosh.
So at the end, they would give it over to the men after they finish.
Give it to do what? To do what with it?
To close it out. Their lessons was mostly on. That's what I said, as far as teaching us how.
Why are the men there?
Because they came. They got to have. They ain't gonna just let the women just run the whole service.
So, okay, because I want to say this. Something about a Thursday night women's only or catering to women's service is very unique and very beautiful, and like, this is our time or whatever. But I feel like the fact that the men are there, it's almost like watchmen. Make sure. So how do you have those vulnerable conversations then that we need to talk about, such as femininity, while the men are with their arms folded? I know I'm related to them, with their arms folded. So what kind of lessons are being taught then?
Talking about the husbands,
how to love your husband.
Women, like wives obey your husbands. Telling them what they should be doing. You should, cooking for their spouses. If they're working, you're still obligated to make sure the house is clean. Chase keepers at home. That's mostly the lessons, and being holy women. That's like most of the lessons that they taught. So as far as teaching us how to be or how to become the wife, it was really never did. They talked to us as if we were already married.
So you were being groomed to be a wife. Okay. Did you always want to be married? I know you're married now, and Mr. Love, we're not slighting you at all.
I always wanted to be married.
Was that your dream?
I just didn't know what age. Okay. But I always wanted to be married. I always saw myself with a family and children. I've always wanted to be married.
Okay. And so were you interested?
He's all don't joke.
What is that girl saying? Riga, I'm just about. Listen, so were there any of the lessons that you found yourself just really drawn to when you talk about XYZ?
No, I became accustomed to already knowing what they were going to talk about. It was like on Thursday night, okay, it's only either women be holy. Like, I already was accustomed to it, so it wasn't like a thrill or an excitement. Oh yes, I'm ready for it. It was never that, because we already knew what it was going to be talking about.
And so holiness is introduced to you as
yes,
an outer garment. Okay, tell me about
what you wear, what you can't wear. Looking on the outward side, like if you wear pants, you're not saved. If you wear lipstick, you're not saved. If you wear earrings, you're not saved. That's how it was introduced. That's why I say we were always judgmental.
So with holiness towards men, because if they're teaching on holiness and you have the watchdogs over there watching this to make sure you're not out of line, so they're telling you something that's gonna benefit the man too. What were some of those things that they were saying? Like cook for your husband?
Obey. Being submissive.
Obey.
Obey. Okay.
Like, put a little Old Bay on your season. What do you say?
Do what he say. Do what he say. Also, as far as like, you know, what we wear, what to wear, coming to church, you know, you ladies, how you present yourselves, you know, what you wear, those type of things. It was more lenient to the women. So that's why I guess that was more like women night. But that was every Thursday night.
So what were some of the things that Taneka, a young Taneka, a 15, 16-year-old Taneka, secretly wanted to do?
Oh, no.
We won't tell on you. Go ahead.
To me, it was just the simple things that we couldn't do. I always wanted to play sports, but we couldn't play sports. Basketball. We even had coaches wanting us to play ball, but because we couldn't wear shorts or pants, we couldn't play. And one of my coaches even went to my dad, was like, "Look, we'll offer them to wear skirts. Can they play?" That's how bad he wanted us to play, but because that was it, we was like, we ain't gonna wear no skirts. We the only ones wearing no skirts.
That would be so embarrassing. I would have come to that game.
It wasn't like the really drawn out things. It was just more so like, you know, different, going to the movies, you know, or going out on the. Yes, I wanted to go to the movies. Just the movies.
What did you?
Movies that was out, or just going to the movies. Period. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't think Jesus was gonna come back while you
I
sitting in the movie
been
house?
taken up if he would have, Gabriel. I would have been raptured up.
They said you wouldn't, Taneka. The people over there said you wouldn't. Taneka, oh my gosh! So, did you want to wear makeup and stuff?
Yes, that's what I said. I wanted to go out. We had to go out on a date, but we couldn't do that. We courted at home, as they say. The word court, we did it at home. We could take company at home, but we could never go out.
Okay, Duggars. What do you mean you could
the living room? And then at 10 o'clock, they had to be out the door. So my dad would be in his room, and when it get around about 9:55, you can hear him like coming through the living room, going to get some ice or get some water.
Wait, Taneka, I can see your dad now. If you, the boy and you in the living room, and he said, let me hear, let me hear what they say. Taneka, so did the boy, would you invite the boy over?
Only once a week. Sunday evenings, they would come about 6 o'clock, and they had to like 10 o'clock to be out the door. And you know, these stories now are funny to me. Like, my dad was like,
they weren't funny.
Don't you dare step your foot, foot on that porch. They go out the door, that's it. Oh my gosh.
Taneka. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. Because I understand that. Because I remember my college boyfriend surprised me down grandma's one Mother's Day. So our family is the type that has a dinner party for every holiday. We used to for pandemic. So he surprised me and come down. And so we were all sitting outside already. But he had to park in like an overflow area to walk over to the house. So me, I'm getting up to go. Girl, I'm going to jump the ditch and all, you know, to go with him. And my Aunt Glenda, says, you let him come to you. And I'm just thinking, like, you're not going to be the poster child for what I should do. I couldn't wait to get over that field and hug his neck because it's like, I'm happy. I'm excited. Like, let me be that. And I feel like the rules of femininity have been so suppressed that our happiness, which comes naturally, girl, if you meet a new guy you're excited about, you're just excited. You want to show that. You're not trying to be like, well, I'll peek out the window and not walk on the porch. You know, you're not trying to do that. You want to just have those last little minutes. You got a knot in your throat because you don't want to cry when you drive off, but you feel like it. And I just feel like the rules take away from just natural emotions that are just attached to femininity. And I feel like that is one of the things that you're speaking of when you couldn't go on the porch or you had to listen out for the which meant you were already listening listening out for it subconsciously, probably,
right.
which took away from the experience of the guy. I'm so sorry, Mr. Love, if that was him.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Because we were out, yeah.
So let's talk about women at your church. So tell me about your first lady.
At that time, when I was down at Billerville, it was Aunt Ruby, which was my aunt. Yeah, Pastor Bill's wife.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Cousin Ruby. So what did you see her doing?
So Ruby, she really...
Here we go.
That would normally come down like on third Sundays. So it really was a lot of intermingling with her. But
so did you see like she sat on the front row or no? Okay. Did Cousin Beanham like, oh, let's give it up for the first lady, or
no? They would not call her. She was just more like mother. They would call her. So really, down in Billerville, they don't use the word first lady. It's just more like mother.
So the mother had to stand up, and what happened?
He would just say, "Thank God for my wife," but as far as making acknowledgments, about her,
I'm so sick of
they didn't do that. They didn't do that. And so that's why I said it's like when people make mention now about first ladies, it's very rare because Billerville never grew up with that. It's like
so you didn't grow up seeing that poster child, and now you're in that. But before we get that, so what did you see women doing that you just really admired? Who was your Naomi? And for those of you like, who is Naomi? Naomi is the mentor to Ruth, who kind of helped her tap into her femininity that gave her everything that she ever experienced
until I moved out up here. Like moved out on my own. I really didn't have that Naomi person.
Okay, so who was your Naomi from afar? Like, maybe they didn't say, Taneka, I'm going to hold your hand, because your mother, I'm not sure about your aunt, Barbara, I would think
she was
sensational.
I was like a close, when I got older, I wasn't really like closer, because she would come down to Billerville like summers, stuff like that. But I would say, if I had from afar, like Cousin Clara, and Cousin Clara and Mother Tate. Do you know Cousin Val's? Cousin Val? We call her Cousin Val, Lena. That's her. Valina Tate. Yeah, Cousin Valina Tate.
That's not our cousin?
Yeah. So she was, them two were like my strength. Like when they would spend time with us, if we needed to talk to them, they were always prayer warriors. So we would go to them, and like if we had issues with it, we would go to them and they would pray with us. So from a distance, but like as far as talking with them all the time, no, but I know they could be reached. And then I moved and got grown. Then I had other first ladies to come into my life, and for each season of my life that I needed, they were there. So
Before you jump to them, because you shared with me something really special, something subsequent that the rules, see, when the rules are presented, I don't think the presenter, ever thinks about the implications that they are going to have that you don't know about, the underlying things that it's going to do. See, they're looking at it as, this is the way to go to heaven, or this is the way to just punish that fast woman of Yolanda, or whatever. But there are deeper things that are effects that the rules can do. And one of those things you shared with me, if you don't mind me saying, was that it obliterated or wiped out completely your confidence. Let's talk about that. So you grew up feeling
it wasn't so
ugly,
it was just my self-esteem when I couldn't accept compliments. You're so gorgeous.
Wow.
I could never say thank you. I could never say I just thank you, April. I said now thank you. But my confidence was broke. And I think in many ways that I didn't know, even, just kind of fast forward, like in marriage, like my husband would tell me, "You're gorgeous." I could never say, "I'll be like, oh, okay, thank you." Like I just didn't feel it. I didn't know myself, and I think because a lot of our validation came through people. Yes,
men or women.
That's what they validate themselves. To know themselves. It was validated and predicated upon what somebody else viewed about them. So that's when that's why I said, when I had, or I don't want to move too far, but when I had girls, I promised myself that their confidence would not be broken. Like going to,
even if that meant that you were going to go to the devil. The devil, like you were not going to make it into heaven, even if that meant that.
No, that's not what that's meaning, because a lot of things what they had as rules were men written rules.
Right, but they really told us that that's how you
right. That's what they said. But I found out differently. It's not what, when you learn and know the relationship for yourself, then God enlightens you. He'll open up your eyes and he'll let you know, okay, conviction is sets in. But no, like the things that I couldn't do, and I knew that it's not wrong. When I came into the knowledge of, this is not wrong. You know, maybe I had to experience that for them. I had to experience that because maybe they couldn't handle what I could handle. So when they became, you know, when I had my girls, and I told God, you set me up because you gave me two at one time, just like me and Sharika all over again. But I promised myself their confidence will not be broken. They won't feel what I felt. They won't be able to go through what I go through, because why? I'm going to teach them to know God for yourself. It was a silent battle.
Like,
I had, Sharika and I, because we both dealt with that. It was, you know, we would talk about it, but it was a silent. And so many times, if I say that now, people are like, "What? You dealt?" Like, yes, I battled that for years, and I think really for the last few years, I really became to know who I really am. So it don't matter what nobody says. Somebody can look at me and say, "You got on red lipstick, you going to help?" Okay, that's your opinion. But I know I'm yes, and I'm
you should do that too.
So that's just where I am. Like, it don't faze me, because I know the torment that I had to go through to get my present now. So it don't bother me no more. Like what somebody say, it don't bother me because I know who I am in my own relationship.
Well, you know, that's really huge, because I submit the idea that our family's generational curse is shame. Like, some families deal with alcoholism, or I don't know, lack of education, but I really feel like our family's generational curse is shame, and that is a result of the rules. The rules did that to us, because I struggle with the same things. Just growing up, going to school here, and like I got opportunities to do bigger things like cotillions, like being debutante balls and things like that, but I wasn't allowed because it had dancing. But you know, I say my church was like the saving grace, because those women in my space, in my presence, were they were getting beautiful for themselves, and maybe their husband as well. And I mean, I remember, this is petty, but whatever. I remember one said, "Girl, you meet you a man that can fly you to Manhattan for lunch and fly you back home by dinner time."
Wow.
You know, and this is a church lady. You know, that for us. But like in my own family, we never got that. So whereas women, or some women, can say, "I grew up watching my mother primp in the mirror and just say, 'Girl, you look so beautiful,' or call me princess like your dad or anything." I didn't grow up with that. And that's why I can connect to what you're saying about confidence and compliments. I mean, I would almost tear your head off if you gave me a compliment back in the day, because I was so uncomfortable. What do you want me to do? Are you being funny? Like, what do you want to do with that? You know? But I think the rules really did that. And so when we talk about women like Mother Ruby, right, or whatever you're calling her, or other women that could serve the role of a Naomi in your life and it being absent, then what did you learn about femininity growing up? What did you know about it other than you were just a girl?
When we got out, I think, like I said, I think I learned femininity is when I had my girls. It pushed me into that. So different things like, you know, I hope I'm not being too deep, but even just being able to talk about periods.
Yeah,
I was
did
so
you tell you like that was a secret for me?
Like those things
too,
were
girl.
held back. Like it wasn't like an open conversation, and it made me feel like, oh, this is it, but it's a part of life. But I just couldn't talk to my mom. I couldn't talk to nobody. So sometimes
yeah. So did you hide yours? Did you hide it? I hid mine too.
I'm like now, like I was like, okay, because I know how I felt. You know, my girls recently started theirs, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna be part of their life. I'm gonna let them know this is human. This is what women go through. Womanhood. So it's just like those different things, you know, which I know sometimes, you know, my mom, she probably wish she could take some things back, because I know a lot of it was probably, you know, how she was taught and passed down, but it stopped with me, and I'm like, what am I gonna do about it? If I'm gonna let another generation go through that? No, it started with me.
That's so good.
To like, no, you can do something about it. Just because it was passed down to you, you can stop it here and let them build their confidence. Let them be open about everything and anything. Sometimes I look at one of my girls, like she is just so open about it. So I wanted to stay that way.
And it will. I'm so glad you brought that up. I didn't even. I forgot about that with myself as well. Like I hid it for a whole year. Even when I had to start wearing a bra, I was so ashamed. I began to walk like this because I didn't want this, you know. And I had the worst posture growing up, but being in the cotillion, this organization in high school, they talked about posture, gave us etiquette lessons and things like this, but that was outside of the church. The church just didn't touch it. They didn't want to, I don't know why,
like, that's part of a womanhood. And you can't, you go to bed, like you can't even really just discuss, you know, okay, you don't even want to say, well, I just don't feel good. Oh, I'm having cramps. I didn't even want to say, I'm having cramps. Because you was just it was like a shameful part. But
yeah, it really was. And I hate that. Even this weekend, I call it my Ministries. I'm still a little proper with it a little bit. But I was visiting someone and I felt it come up. So I whispered to the lady and I was like, do you have any sanitary? And I was like, why am I whispering? Girl, do you have any pads? Like, I need a pad. You know? And she was like, oh, girl, yeah, let me go get you one. And she was so happy to go get me one. But I'm like, why did I start out whispering that like it's some curse or something like that when it's actually my body just cleansing? And thank God I still have one. I don't have kids yet. Thank God. It could be another way. But that's some of the way rules have played in our lives that just, again, what I say, diminish the whole femininity thing. Because it isn't shameful to have a period at all. It's going to happen. So even through the midst of all the rules and the holiness and all of this, and women do this, women can't do that, it's remarkable. You still found it necessary to walk with Christ. What was your draw? Because you were young, right?
My draw, really, I say really, when I really knew I had a relationship was when I got out on my own. Because we can follow rules, we can do all of that when we're home, we're around people. But really what determines is when you get out of your own, you will have your mom, your dad to fight those things for you. So I really found out who I was, what I was made of when I got out on my own. And I could make my own decision, own choices. But I wanted to still be in the fear of God.
So you got saved at a young age, but you developed a relationship.
Yes.
When you got up on your own. Hey, what's the differences between the two, you think? Like, were you going through the motions when you were a kid, just doing it the way they said? Because I also know there that you have to have someone
right.
validate, yes, she got saved. Like, you couldn't go get saved by yourself because and say, I got saved.
When you're around
like,
your family, you do the things, you know, to please them, and you really have no choice. When you're living under your parents, you really have no choice to say, okay, I got a choice to go do here, go there. But to me, when I really knew, like I would say my desires change, but I'm saying I ain't really have a lot of desires. But when you get out and you get in the real world, you got all the desires there in front of you. You can do whatever you want to do. So I knew my relationship built, and to have that strong relationship, I had to be like, look, I got to make a choice what I wanted to do. You know, do I want to do this? I still made that choice. I'm going to still go to church. I'm going to still serve God. I'm going to still do that when I had all the freedom in the world to do what.
So what was the biggest misconception of God that you come to know now?
Misconception is rules. Because we just based it on so many man-made religious stuff when it's not even that. Now, you do have a standard, you do have a difference. I'm not saying you just be, hey, wow, but conviction was set in.
Yeah. Do you believe everyone's conviction is the same?
So what I might can get away with, you can't get away with, or what you can get away with, I might can't get away with. And I have to be fine with that, not trying to look at somebody else and say, well, God, you let them do this. I have to be fine with the conviction that God gives me. And be fine with it.
Right.
If I had to stand, I'll be a little different. That's fine. Just being different. That's fine. When we can get in that mode or that mindset, then it won't be no like competition or jealous. You just in your position and what God has called you for, you can stand and be okay with it. So,
yes. Right. That's the beauty of it too. I love that about God, because you're not taught that. To me, God was this angry man, you know, just like I can't get away with nothing. Now Jesus was love, but God, girl, you better tread lightly. And so just having that awareness and relationship now is just, I debunked it all. Like what I learned growing up is not God. That was the preacher trying to scare me or trying to push their own agenda to do whatever. So you're on your own. You graduate. Did you go to prom?
Could I go to prom?
Some of y'all can go.
I'm trying to think who did that.
Deidre said she went.
Deidre was not. She was down there, but not down there. She was in Newburgh.
Okay, let me see who down there. Oh,
that was a whole generation. And plus, she didn't live down on our road. That was a whole nother generation. But pretty much none of us like the graduation. What do they call it? The project graduation. They called it the project graduation. That's a graduation after graduation. They were like, go hang out.
Okay.
After we graduated, we had to go straight to the car and straight home. So even go to the prom, we could go. Nobody. I think sister. Look,
I would be a bad therapist.
Tanya Hall, her sister told me, no, none of us could go to the prom. We couldn't go.
None of y'all. I thought
find somebody.
I'm gonna find somebody that lived on that road. As Grandma said, that road. I'm gonna find somebody that went to the prom our age. But did you want to? You didn't want to go though.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even think about it because I knew the answer was already no. Yeah.
It was no. Well, I didn't ask. I wanted to go. I didn't ask, and so that was that. I didn't go. But I used to say my wedding is going to be absolutely fabulous, and I probably am going to go to red carpets all over the world, so it don't even matter. That's how I coped. I got through it.
You might They couldn't even right without out there. We couldn't go to no basketball games. They had to be right there with us.
They just wanted to protect you from the boys, from them,
to go to a game.
Who they were. Girl, I would have had to get a whooping because I'm going to anything that I want to go to. So, if I want to go, I'm going to go.
Y'all was in heaven compared to us.
But we wasn't really there because my mom was still wrapped up in it too. Like the house we had to do it. So Sanctuary didn't have any rules, none. The only rule they had is that during choir rehearsal you couldn't walk through the pulpit. I mean, your feet were gonna fall off if you walked through the pulpit. And then, but I was told recently that when we when the Brodies came to Sanctuary, the youth department changed to where when you had to go to choir rehearsal, you had to wear a skirt. You could wear your pants, but you had to put a skirt on top of the pants. So people used to have like mini skirts and pants like just on or whatever. And
I was going to say,
no,
what?
Because
that was not a beautiful church.
No, we couldn't wear pants. So they thought, the young people thought it was because I couldn't wear pants. So that the youth department was trying to make me feel more inclusive. But we were saying no, we had nothing to do, like we had no idea that this wasn't a thing. We were just going by the rules. But then I was, right when I got ready to go to college and my mom took me shopping, I was like, I would like to buy pants, please. And she just went to the jeans. I took her straight to the Guess jeans. Remember Guess jeans? The brand? You're going to spend all your money for the years. I just suffered. So I tore belt up, her card up, and then I looked out for my sisters. Now my siblings are younger, so Kendra to me didn't grow up in the space. She always wore pants as long as I've known her. But my mom just bought it, and so college was my coming out. When you were able to do your thing, what was that thing that you did?
Okay, so mine really wasn't makeup straight. It really wasn't pants straight. I would wear like sweatsuits and stuff, but mine really wasn't like, I'm just gonna go do this. I think slowly, like movies, going out.
What was the first movie that you went to see?
Going out.
What was the
things
movie?
I couldn't do. Making sure I would, go to the basketball courts. I gradually started, wearing polish, get my toes and stuff done. And I don't.
What was the first movie that you went to see? Oh my God. You should never forget that.
My girls were, so that was like in 2000 when we moved out. 2001, 2. It was a decade.
And how did it feel? Do you remember how you felt?
Yeah, I felt
in? Like,
great.
Oh my gosh, we're going to movies.
Because like we go now. We did well. Today is my cousin Tina's birthday, so we would. She was living on college campus at UNCW. So Tina, she had more privilege, so we would go stay with her sometime. And, she would take us we'd do like different things. We would go out, just to hang out with her. Cause, she had that privilege and stuff. Cause she was
privileged because she
so I was
just
away. Shocked that my dad let us go, knowing
me too.
But he let us go stay with her. And we had a weekend with her, and then, her mom, Mama Marie, came and picked us up. And so, but, he did, I think as we got a little older, he allowed us to kind of go a little bit more, but it was kind of like a poor hold. Yeah.
Yeah. So you told me red lipstick has become your thing. When did you first start? When did you first lace your lips?
It's been maybe about within the last 5 to 6 years. And
And what was that experience like?
I did.
Did you go buy it? Like, how did red come in your life? Okay, where'd you go?
Red has always been my color. Like, I love the color red. So, then you remember my Aunt Ruth. She didn't like the color red. My Aunt Ruth, you don't remember her? The street lady that used to spit. You go and she tell you to spit your gum in her hand.
Oh, that's Sister Katie, Mother Katie's friend?
No.
I remember her. She didn't go to Grandma.
She was in Goldsboro, from Goldsboro,
right?
Yeah, Ruth.
Goldsboro Church. I know that lady.
One, like, cause you know, she would come and tell my dad, like, you know, women shouldn't wear red. The color red. You better not wear the color red around her. But no, like no dress. And it was 1 year the choir had to wear red, and it was like, oh my goodness! And she came down for the choir reunion. And me and Sharika, we had to put on our dresses, and we hated to come out of the room because we was like, our Ruth don't like red. So we was hating. We was like, Lord, our Ruth is down here. I know she don't want to. We don't want her to see us in the color red. So we had to bundle up. That's what we had to wear. So we come marching in. She was, she was looking, but she didn't. She said something that shocked me. The following day. She called me and she said, Claire, I don't like the color red, but the red looks pretty on y'all. And I was like, what? Like, I was just shocked. But because red was just my color. And I think I love loud colors, but red is it's something about red I love. So I got a red lipstick, and I've just been wearing it ever since.
And I just put up my, I have a new YouTube that went up today. It's called The Mamie Look, named after Cousin Mamie. Because she told me a while ago that when she was growing up, she always wanted to wear red lipstick. And so I felt like, well, she's not going to do it, so I'm going to do it for her. So I created the red lip, like how I wear my red, but I also told the story of when I first went to, like, the MAC counter, and I was like, I want to try red. And I just thought it looked so dumb on me. Like, this is not for me. I don't know. You're just fighting these. Even when I wore pants for the first time, I felt like I was fat. Girl, I was 98 pounds, but I felt like I had exploded. Because I just went, girl, it's so much that we fight, right? We have to fight this internal voice that's telling us, it's doing that to us all the time. So with this red, I just felt like clownish a little bit, like I'm just not gonna get it. And if it wasn't for a girl that was with me at the time, and I said, how does this look on me? I kind of like just tell me, and she said, oh, that makes me want to kiss you. And I'm like, oh yes, boys are gonna want to kiss me. So I just came away with it. But even now, I still have to go and wear the red, girl. It looks right. It's a fight with me in red. But I love that that's your thing. And that was one of the things that you're like, okay, I'm grown. I'm going to do this. Are there anything? I see you have your ears pierced yet? Okay. So you went and got your ears pierced. Was that scary? Or you
No, it wasn't scary because I was ready to do it. Like, it wasn't scary. I thought, okay, because what came in was like, what if you get them the keloids?
The keloids.
I'm doing it. And so ever since, I love it. Yeah.
I love this. So I want to shift a little bit because you are in the role now of the Thursday night lady, meaning you're over. Well, listen, hear me out. You're over. You're co-pastoring or co-partnering with your husband, who has a space that parishioners come to worship, and that women will subsequently look at you as their first lady, whether you want to call yourself that or not. They're going to look at you as that. And so that's why I said you're now the Thursday night that can kind of shift it and make it do what it really should have been doing. So what are some things that you like to do now in your role as the pastor's wife? I'm just going to call you the first lady, even though your husband doesn't like your name. That's what it is. Go ahead.
What I do, my motive.
Like, have you found some intentional things that, this wasn't present when I was growing up, so I'm going to offer this to you guys.
Like, I have
that's so
this
good.
thing, which I know is God-given. We call it Glow, which is God's Ladies of Worth. We have that where we come in, we talk, and it's like, let your hair down. You don't have it's no shame, no condemning, no judgment, struggles, just being able to have a safe space where you can come in and we're all together talking to build each other up, to encourage one another, build each other. That's the main thing, is each other's worth, knowing who you are. confidence and self-esteem, because that's so passionate for me, because I know how broken I was, and I don't want, if I can help somebody not to go through what I went through, and build their self-esteem and confidence, and let you know you don't have to know who you are. And so we're building each other their self-esteem where they feel like they can't. Yes, you can, because we put you to do what your purpose is, and that's my biggest motive right now, is to push each other. Nobody is bigger than us. We are all in this together. Like that's my passion. That's why I said when you reached out to me, I'm like, wow, like how did you know? This is what I love, because I know how I felt. I know what it is to be low in the torment of coming home, wait for that validation, and if you don't get it, you're crying. What did I do? Like, you don't have to live like that.
And what's so funny about you saying that is we're kind of living in conflict, because even if they gave it to you, you couldn't accept it back then anyway. So what a war. You were
and I think that's what battle. When my husband said that he was called to pastor, I fought it, because I'm like, all I saw was what I saw. All I knew was what I grew up with. And I'm like, I don't want to be like that. If I had to be like the other ones, not saying everybody was bad, but if I had to go through and walk that same path that I saw a lot of first, I don't want that. I'm different, and I wanted to walk in and be the unique me. And that's what it is. It's like, I'm not comparing myself to no other first lady. I'm not trying to be like nobody else but me. And that's all the authentic me. Yeah. So
I love the word glow.
Oh, big hat. I don't have to do. No, I'm just walking in my purpose.
Girl, you need not come near me, because I got a big old hat.
You got a huge hat.
A huge one.
I'm wondering when you sit, that's like sit behind you. They can't see past your shoulder.
Oh well. I love the name Glow, because I love that did you come up with the acronym Glow?
No, it was God given one. If I could, it was down.
It downloaded it to you. Yeah. Wow. I love that, because I often say I'm rewriting my manuscript called Confessions of a Church Girl, A Love Story of God's Grace. So part of that has the whole grandma's church experience for me, and just how I viewed it to be. And one of the things that my grandmother allowed was her daughters, 7 girls, to wear foundation. But they could only wear it for the purposes of diminishing their shine. They could not, she found shiny faces unattractive. And so when I see something like this Glow, which is just the opposite of what grandma was instilling in her daughters, to not stand out. And again, that's the whole shame thing that plagues our family. I love that, because our worth is so valuable, really tied into and woven into who we are as women, as future moms, future wives, future single women, future politicians, or whatever it may be. And to know that you're creating a space for women to tap into who they are is just the whole point of conversations like this, that we don't have to do it the way the patriarchy presented what holiness was, what church is, or who God is, and that we can stand up and be valuable women of God and still be just as elegant and riveting and beautiful, and God accepts that all. So I love this whole setup, the safe space you're creating for your members. Because you are a bit of a Bible scholar as well, I want you to imagine that you have Glow is presenting a beautiful brunch for ladies. Who are some of the Bible characters women characters that are definitely going to have a seat at your RSVP, your reserved table?
Esther.
What makes Esther the first?
Favorite scripture is when she had to deliver, when Mordecai came to her and he says, suppose you're for your position is for such a time as this. So that's what I look at you as today. And I'm just thinking about when you said God dropped this in your spirit. We have to take every corner, like, you're for such a time as this, because nobody have ever did this. That side. So we have to, when God drops something in our spirit, we have to do it. Everybody's not going to understand it, but because it's a position and what God has called us to, you're for such a time as this, your royal position, your royal status. So I would definitely have her sitting at the table. Yeah, definitely.
Amen. That's it at your table?
That's my main focus one.
Esther?
First, Deborah.
Of course,
Deborah, because she ruled, had a judge. She was a judge, so she had to sit at, so just different, like Naomi, like our group, like all of those. But my main one, if I had to do Esther for today.
Esther. I don't necessarily love it, but it's just a habit to wrestle with God. Like, get somebody else, please, and leave me alone. Because I have such a provocative topic, I feel like, and no better person than me, I feel like, because of all the things that the church put me through. So just because Sanctuary was like this very liberal church, I went through a lot because they hated every last one of my outfits. I've been sat down. I've had more prayer cloths than anybody in the world. All kinds of things happened, and it was always based on my looks. I was even told that, you'll never be able to get saved as long as you're into you. You're too pretty. You have to come out of that pretty, wear your hair in a ponytail and put some sweatpants on so you can get saved. Because they just thought I was just into myself. But so it made me easy, like, God, I'm not about to do that. Remember, I'm the girl that gets in trouble, So when it comes to a message such as femininity and faith, and actually, I go gentle with you guys because I just don't want y'all to hang up on me. But when I began to articulate God in the feminine, because I understand that Genesis has a snippet of a masculine version of God and a feminine version of God, because God says it. I mean, God's talking to somebody and says it. And so I would be remiss to just ignore the fact that the femininity of God shouldn't be explored, or that God didn't say, I'll make man and female in my own image. I have to examine it. It doesn't let me go, Taneka. And the thing about it is, I knew God was up to something when I had a conversation with Cousin Ivan. Yeah, here we go. So I'm sitting beside his wife at the time because I felt like she needed me to hold her hand. She probably didn't, but I just wanted to hold her hand because if we got to talk back to this man, we're going to talk back. So I said, my problem with you all is that you all raise the girls, us girls, to be tough, to get out there and know how to do the farm and almost pull the disc with your neck, whatever it is, to just be tough. But then you guys went out and married the opposite of that. You wanted the very demure, little, lovely flower, but you raised us to be men. Wow. And now the men don't want us. And he says to me, I'm putting him on blast, but he said to me, I believe you got something there. And that's when I knew it, like, because I don't know, I wasn't even thinking about it. It just downloaded to me to be able to say this to him. And I knew then that God was up to something in my life with femininity and faith. So if I wrestled with everybody, I'm ready for everybody. Come on,
you're going to always have something to say back. Yeah.
I mean, and so the subject is precious. It was so serious to me. I decided to go get another master's degree in it, in theology. And I look at now the Bible unveils itself through the lenses of femininity to me. So whereas you're reading David and Psalms, I'm looking at it as David had to tap into his femininity to be able to express himself.
How men was raised, that's tough to not to.
Right. Because men have plenty of characters that they model themselves out of in the Bible. They can be David, they can be Daniel, they can be Jesus, they can be so many different people, but women don't do that unless it's a lonely character. You barely do Esther. You barely do it. If you're doing it, you're doing it under your breath through your teeth. But you can quickly say, oh, I'm like Mary, I'm lonely, because that's how it's been positioned for femininity to show up in a very second-class position. And I'm saying that we as women it's nothing second-class about us, because we are direct derivatives of who the feminine God is. And you better be glad I'm not saying she. I'm just being nice here, because that's what I'm dealing with. So, we're coming down to the end, because I'm going to let you go, because we can talk forever, girl. What is your go-to beauty regimen today? Like, what is your thing?
I guess my regimen for my face. Like, I have, like, the cleansing from all of that. So, that's my...
Yeah. Is that your me time? Do you find yourself when looking in the mirror and saying, Nika, you got this. Nika, you're a cute girl.
On the mirror, like, to reminders, like, I talk to myself constantly. That's my downtime, is when I go in the room or go in the bathroom, close the door. Even though my kids try to interrupt, like, I'm in the bathroom, just let me have my but yeah, that's my me time, or going on walks. Just walks, that's regimens to kind of relax myself.
When's the last time you told yourself you were beautiful?
Did I say today? Not today, but this week, yes. I'm
make sure you tell yourself that often. You know, and keep feeding it to your subconscious, because your subconscious, like, the beautiful thing about the body and the mind is that it never forgets. It may put it to the side somewhere, but it doesn't forget. And so when you constantly feed it truth, hold on to that and bring it up.
Yes.
Up often. And so make sure you tell yourself how beautiful you are. How would you describe femininity? When you think about your femininity, how Taneka, the girl, the woman, shows up, how would you best describe it? You feel most feminine when you're what?
Knowing my worth.
That's so beautiful. Cheers to
me,
that.
Because, like I told you, I suffered that for a long time. Now that I'm confident, whether nobody tell me that or not, like, it's all in me, and I wear my confidence. Graceful, elegant, my poise. That's, and to sum it off, just being me. That's femininity to me. Just being who I am. Yeah.
And that is enough. That's enough. I love this. We got a fun round before I let you go. This has been awesome. I hope the guys that's watching enjoyed this, the after broadcast or whatever. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I love it. Really fun.
So, all right. So, what song do you have on repeat right now?
Well, it's not.
Beyonce,
but it's
want it to be. Okay.
Goodness of God. Goodness of God.
Who?
It's my CC Waters, but this the Israel new. It's that the live recording he did. I have that one on repeat.
I don't know that. Okay. So what is your favorite?
Bulgari. Yes. It's the.
Ooh. When did you start wearing
fragrance? When I was young. Like, I go back to
who bought you your first bottle?
My mom, we would, like, go school shopping and stuff. I had to have fragrance, but it wasn't like the real
get your
stuff.
Perfume.
Now we go to Walmart. You remember?
What was it? The Stockyard.
We went to Walmart. What was that called? In that blue bottle. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like not Gone with the Wind. Something.
Rash City.
Girl, we thought we were doing something. No, we were smelling good. But yeah, now
y'all gave me a headache.
Like, I invest in smell goods. Yeah.
Please, ladies, please invest in you an expensive bottle of fragrance, because number one, a little goes a long way, and there's nothing like
I invest, and that's like
woman.
Yes, Lord. Like, that's
rich.
That's my favorite one. Is like when I'm really getting ready to go somewhere, or if I like get up, I'm putting on my favorite perfume. Like if I'm feeling,
don't let me down. Don't let me down.
Bulgari.
What's your favorite? Oh, you said Bulgari. Okay. I thought you just said we wouldn't spray some Victoria's Secret. So say, don't let me down.
That might be for the bed, just like going to bed. But yeah. Oh my.
All right. When we already said that. What is your dream vacation spot? Do you take vacations?
What is
your dream vacation spot?
Or the Caribbean, somewhere in the Caribbean.
Ooh. I need you to go there by next year. I need us to have this conversation again, and you've been there. Okay. Now the next question was red lipstick dude, but I already know.
Right now.
She's a red lipstick girl. What is your take on? This is the last question. What is your take on being sexy and devout, like a devout Christian?
Everybody has their different of what sexy is. So let me bring in mine. Mine is just like this right here. Like when I dress up, I just say modest sexy. You can still be sexy. Like I can be sexy in a pair of sweatpants, dressed up in a pair. Like my confidence. So it's not what I have on, is what my confidence. And to me, that's what a man is looking for, your intellect. They want to talk to your intellect. You know, I can, like, if I put on a sweat, I can feel sexy in a pair of sweatpants. You know, and put my hair.
Go ahead.
Like, I can feel sexy. It's just all myself and my confidence, because I'm wearing my confidence well. And to me, confidence is sexy to a man.
My God.
So, yeah.
I gotta write that down.
I wear
this well. That's a T-shirt for the Glow Ministry.
That's it. I wear my confidence well. Yes,
that's the T-shirt. Taneka Love, this has been awesome. Is there anything else that you want to say? Because you have blown my mind. I figured I would be a horrible therapist. What did you say? I didn't hear you. I mean, no, like you came out of the gate, like, wait a minute, let me swallow first.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm telling you. All of us had different, but rules at church different, but then everybody had their different rules at home. So that's different. So
yeah. But we made it. We made it through it, and we can be better. You know, maybe some of us are still in therapy, just trying to help peel back those layers, and some of us have been delivered into our new roles, and that's what I see when I see you and your sister just kind of operating in your femininity. Do not lose it, and it is it's a special place for it in ministry, and I love to watch you.
I ain't no going back for me. No,
girl, say it. Another T-shirt, another one. Taneka, you concluded How to Be a Girl. What is it?
I
forgot the name of the thing. You forgot to teach me how to be a girl. You've concluded our 4-week series, and I'm certainly thankful. I'm thankful for everyone who has tuned in. This series is coming back probably in the third quarter this fall, where we're going to be talking more about this, because, again, I believe that what's absent in the world is the feminine sound. And the feminist, when she raises her voice, like Hagar in the wilderness, man, God is there to be her El Roy, the God who sees. And man, did he deliver Hagar. It's so funny that Hagar comes off as the mistress, or is presented to us as the mistress, but Hagar was an establishing place, because the place that she established, El Roy, Bella Roy, was actually the place where Isaac ended up living, the promised child. So this has been so good. I'm so thankful for you and for all the rest of my speakers, Deidre, Tamika Christie, Michaela Blue, and you concluding. This has been a great conversation. So
I gotta give
please
a shout
feel
out
free to reach out to me for Glow.
This part of Glow, they're up here. Thank y'all for
Glow is here. I saw someone say Glow was phenomenal. Like, Glow was good. Yeah. Like, they love Glow.
Yes.
Yeah. So keep doing that, and let me know any way that brilliant women can help Glow, or myself. Just let me know. I'm here at your service. And thank you so much for this. I'm so glad you moved to the last, because remember, you were supposed to be first. I know. It worked out. God always knows. So thank you so much. Thank you, guys. You guys have a great Sunday evening, and we'll see you soon. I do have another series coming that's before You Forgot to Teach Me How to Be a Girl. It's going to be a Bible study called In My Boudoir, where we are reading the diary, as I call it, of the Shulamite woman from Song of Solomon. We're going to really get into some things. So make sure you look out for that. Thank you, Taneka Love. Thank you to all of you all. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.